Fair skies and sunshine. A good looking Wednesday morning here in northwestern Minnesota. 49 on our way to a high near 80 today. We'll have our update on the weather coming up. But for sports, scores and schedules. With that, we say good morning to Wade Allen.
Well, good morning, Bob. Good morning, Bob. Good morning, buddy. Happy Wednesday, middle of the week. Yeah, it's beautiful outside. Green grass starting to show and 80 today. That's lovely. Well, we managed to get a couple games on the radio for you yesterday locally, and let's start with high school baseball yesterday afternoon, where Red Lake County actually ended up hosting a home game for West Marshall. It was moved yesterday afternoon, but we did get one in. Travis was on 94.1 The Falls with that baseball game.
Falls on a beautiful night for baseball to face the Red Lake County Rebels. The game was a defensive battle throughout the first three innings as a Rebel pitcher, Will Giesecke, and a Fusion pitcher, Andrew Thompson, each threw 3 shutout innings to start the game. It wasn't until the bottom of the fourth when Kane Cardinal scored off a bases-loaded walk to Will Giesecke, and the Rebels were the first to get on board with a 1-0 lead after 4 innings. The scoreboard was quiet again until the top of the 7th when the Fusion were able to manufacture a run off of a walk and some errors to tie the game up. 1-1. In the bottom of the 7th, Will Giesecke helped his own cause with a leadoff double. Ben Gullingsrud then reached off an error on his sacrifice bunt, putting Giesecke in scoring position for shortstop Keegan Schmitz, whose RBI single scored Giesecke and gave the Rebels a win in walk-off fashion, 2-1. The Fusion got a solid pitching performance by committee from Andrews Thompson, Sebastian Johnson, and Ethan Ellerbush, who combined for 8 strikeouts over 7 innings, allowing 2 runs. The Rebels were led by Will Giesecke, who pitched the complete game no-hitter with 12 strikeouts, while going 2 for 3 from the plate with a single and double while scoring the game-winning run. Rebels also got hit from Gullingsrud and Dawson Erickson as well. The final for Red Lake Falls.
Thank you, Travis. Other baseball finals yesterday. Northern Freeze all were Badger Greenbush Middle River 14-8. And in a doubleheader yesterday, Rosa winning both games over Crookston 7-5 and 13-3 yesterday afternoon. High school softball for you. Lee Generics had the game between Red Lake Falls and Badger Greenbush Middle River on North Country 99.3.
For the second time this season, up in Greenbush, and it would be Red Lake Falls defeating Badger Greenbush Middle River in 6 innings by a score of 12-1. Red Lake Falls did not waste any time. Their first 3 batters of the
12-1. Didn't you see 12-2?
They'd add 1 in the second, 3 more in the 4th, 1 in
okay,
the 5th.
I guess I'll go 12-1.
4 more in the 6th with that 12-1 victory.
BJ Marr says it was
12-2. For Grace Knudsen, that would be your 5th home run of the year. For the Red Lake Falls Eagles, they finish out with 12 runs on 10 hits. They committed no errors and left 2 on. For the Badger Greenbush Middle River Gators, they had 2 runs, 5 hits, 1 error, and they
he just said they had
right, yep, right.
Getting the complete game, Kylie Clippy, she pitched well once again, walked just 1 and struck out 8. For Badger Greenbush Middle River, Kate Harder would pitch the first 4+ innings. She would get some relief help from Ona Green. With the win, Red Lake Falls stays unbeaten. They are 7-0 on the season. With the loss, the defending champion of Section 8 will drop to 2-4 on the early year. Again, in softball from Greenbush on a Tuesday night, your final score in 6 innings, it was the Red Lake Falls Eagles 12 and the Badger Greenbush Middle River Gators 2. For Thief River Falls Radio.
Thank you, Lee. Other softball finals from yesterday. No contest between Northern Freeze and Clearbrook Gunvick. All Northern Freeze in that one, 18-7. And it was War Road over Crookston, 15-0 in high school softball yesterday afternoon. Well, let's stick with high school sports as track meet was in Crookston yesterday for the Crookston Frozen 5 meet. Both girls and boys from Thief River Falls was up there. And on the girls side of things, West Marshall was the top team with 96 points. East Grand Forks was second with 56. Thief River Falls girls coming in third with 53. Roseau in fourth place with 36 points, and Crookston with 28. On the boys side of things, another team win for the Thief River Falls Prowlers, coming out on top with 81 points. East Grand Forks in second with 69, followed by West Marshall with 64. Roseau in fourth with 39, and Crookston with 18. So good finishes by both the boys and girls track teams yesterday up in Crookston at the Frozen 5. We'll tell you about the Minnesota Twins. They opened up a road trip starting in New York last night. against the Mets. We'll tell you about that as they will continue that road trip tonight, 5:30 here on KTRF. And we'll also have Wild Hockey Game 3 of that series as it's tied up at 1 apiece. 8:15 tonight on Real Country 1460. So let's stick with baseball and softball. As University of Minnesota softball was taking on UND yesterday, as the Gophers would snap a 6-game losing skid with a 6-2 non-conference win over the Fighting Hawks last night. Gopher infielder Taylor Wollock had 3 hits and drove home 2 runs in the win, helping push Minnesota's season mark to 15-30. UND dropped to 25-19 with the loss. The Gophers open up a 3-game Big Ten series at home against Wisconsin on Friday night. University of Minnesota baseball team also took on North Dakota State in a non-conference game last night in Minneapolis, winning that one 12-3. It was Minnesota who had improved to 23-17 on the season with the win, while the visiting Bison dropped to 6-24. Dismal year for the Bison so far. The Gophers will host Northwestern in a 3-game Big Ten series starting Friday in Minneapolis. St. Paul Saints opened up their series against the Indianapolis Indians yesterday with a 7-5 loss at Victory Field. Mike Paredes was charged with his first loss after surrendering 6 runs on 8 hits in 3 1/3 innings. The Saints are 9-12 on the year. They'll send Andrew Bash to the mound against Indy tonight. And the Minnesota Twins, they would open up that road trip yesterday in New York, taking on the Mets. Would they be able to get a win yesterday? Let's find out with Chris Atterbury and the Twins rep. Thank you, Chris. Yeah, you could hear the boos in the background there during that report. Twin skipper Derek Shelton says his entire team played a role in last night's victory. Yeah, and he talked about Cole Sands, who worked some impressive 2 innings, worked a scoreless 8th and 9th inning out of the bullpen to earn the win last night. Minnesota improves to 12-11 on the year. Mets starter Nolan McLean, he was perfect through 5 and ended up striking out 10 Twins last night, working 6 2/3 innings. He also got a no decision, unfortunately, in that loss. New York, again, has lost 12 straight games. They're 7-16 on the year. Game 2 tonight at 6:10 with the first pitch. We'll have it for you 5:30 pregame right here on your home for Twins baseball, KTRF. Finals from the Diamonds yesterday. It was the Washington Nationals with 11-4 win over the Atlanta Braves. Cleveland Guardians rookie Chase DeLauter snapped an 0-for-12 slump with a go-ahead 3-1 triple in the 8th inning to secure an 8-5 win for the Cleveland Guardians over the Houston Astros yesterday. Milwaukee Brewers with the 12-4 win over the Detroit Tigers. Cincinnati Reds downing the Tampa Bay Rays 12-6. New York Yankees with the 4-0 shutout win over the Boston Red Sox. Chicago Cubs with the 7-4 win over the Philadelphia Phillies. It was the San Francisco Giants over the defending champs LA Dodgers 3-1. And despite the loss, Shohei Ohtani singled in the 7th to extend his career best on-base streak to 53 games in that loss. That is impressive. 53 straight games he's been on base, Shohei Ohtani. Other action saw the St. Louis Cardinals winning over the Miami Marlins 5-3. Kansas City Royals picking up a 6-5 win over the Baltimore Orioles. Texas Rangers down to the Pittsburgh Pirates 5-1. It was a pitcher's duel between the Padres and the Rockies. San Diego winning that one 1-0. 4-2 win for the Toronto Blue Jays over the LA Angels. Athletics with the 5-2 win over the Seattle Mariners. And the White Sox down in the Diamondbacks 11-5 in Major League Baseball action yesterday. Well, Minnesota Lynx got some kind of bad news featuring Naphtali Collier, as they announced yesterday that she'll be out until at least June. Of course, she injured her ankle during the Game 3 of the WNBA semifinals last year. She averaged 22.9 points and 7.3 rebounds per game last season. Again, she'll be out till at least June for the Minnesota Lynx. Minnesota Timberwolves still prepping to continue the first round of the NBA playoffs as they'll host the Nuggets at Target Center Game 3 tomorrow night. In downtown Minneapolis, the Wolves even that best-of-7 series at a game apiece with a 119-114 win in Denver on Monday. Tomorrow's game tips off at 8:30, and of course, we'll have that for you. We'll join it in progress tomorrow night right here on KTRF. Chicago Bulls head coach is stepping down. Billy Donovan decided to leave after 6 seasons. The team announced that yesterday. His decision follows discussions with ownership as the franchise restructures its front office. Bulls president Michael Reinsdorf said the team wanted to keep Donovan, calling him a Hall of Fame coach. Donovan finishes his Bulls tenure at 226 to 256 wins losses, just one playoff appearance in that time frame. He's expected to continue his career and could draw interest across the league. Finals from yesterday's playoff action in NBA. Philadelphia evened the series at one apiece as they picked up a win over the Boston Celtics 111-97. Of course, they got some big performance from VJ Edgecombe, who got 30 points and 10 rebounds. Tyrese Maxey with 29 points. And they outscored Boston at 1 point, 37-26. Again, that series now tied at a game apiece. Portland tied their series with the San Antonio Spurs at a game apiece with a 106-103 victory as they rallied to take home court advantage after a late game collapse by the Spurs. Scott Henderson notched a playoff career-high 31 points to lead Portland in that win. LeBron James had a 28-point, 8-rebound, 7-assist night as he led a shorthanded Lakers squad to a 2-0 series lead with a 101-94 win over the Houston Rockets. Despite the return of Kevin Durant for Houston, who got 23 points, the Rockets struggled offensively, shooting only 40% from the field. You don't win ball games that way. And the games tonight, Orlando Magic are at Detroit Pistons. Orlando leads that series 1-0. And the Phoenix Suns are at Oklahoma City Thunder for Game 2 there. Oklahoma leads that series 1-0. Minnesota Wild return to home ice tonight for Game 3 against the Dallas Stars, as that series is tied at a game apiece. Of course, Wild took Game 1 with a 6-1 victory on Saturday. Dallas would even the series with the 4-2 victory on Game 2 on Monday. Head coach John Hines says the team has played well to this point. It's unclear the status of Matt Zuccarello, who was out for Game 2 with that upper body injury. John Hines did confirm, however, that rookie goaltender Jesper Wallstedt would get his third straight start in the series. Puck drops tonight, 8:50 from Grand Casino Arena. We'll have it for you on Real Country 1460 the pregame at 8:15 for Game 3 between the Wild and the Stars. Finals from last night's NHL playoff action. Tampa Bay Lightning with the 3-2 overtime win over the Montreal Canadiens. And for the second straight game, these teams went to overtime. J.J. Moser played the hero for the Lightning, scoring the game winner at 12:48 of the extra frame to even that series at a game apiece. Boston Bruins getting by the Buffalo Sabres 4-2 as the Bruins bumped back behind 2 goals from Victor Arvidsson and Morgan Geekie. They scored unusual goals from behind center ice that bounced over the Buffalo goaltender. Again, Boston winning that one 4-2. That series even at a game apiece. And the Utah Mammoth get their first ever career playoff victory as a franchise with the 3-2 win over the Vegas Golden Knights. That series tied at a game apiece. And the Colorado Avalanche have gone up 2-0 over the LA Kings with a 2-1 overtime win. After trailing 1-0 in the third, Colorado tied it. and then got a goal from Nicholas Roy, who scored on a backhand rebound at 7:44 of the extra frame to give Avalanche that 2-0 series lead over the LA Kings. Tonight's matchups, again, Dallas at Minnesota tonight for Game 3. Pittsburgh is at Philly. Philly leads that series 2-0, and Anaheim Ducks for Game 2 against the Edmonton Oilers. In Edmonton, Edmonton leads that series 1-0. Former University of Minnesota defensive tackle Devin Eastern is hoping to hear his name called at some point during this week's NFL draft. Of course, he said he's hoping to get drafted at some point this weekend, which would be a dream come true. He played 45 career games and was a 3-year starter for the Gophers. He attended the Senior Bowl, the NFL Combine, and Gopher Pro Day this spring to allow teams to get a scouting report on his skills and personality. Meanwhile, the Golden Gopher football team will host its annual spring game on campus this Saturday at 11 a.m. The Minnesota Vikings continue their workouts at team headquarters in Eagan this week. Head coach Kevin O'Connell met with the team on Monday, saying that the message was that the next 9 weeks are important in establishing the framework of what type of team they want to be and what identity they can take on. O'Connell says with no games to prepare for, it's all about building the foundation of little things that are important in building a winning culture. Meanwhile, the team, of course, prepping for the NFL draft. The Vikes currently hold that 18th overall selection in the opening round. Longtime Pittsburgh Steelers head coach, he's got a new job. His reports show that he's going to be a studio analyst on NBC's network Sunday night pregame show. This comes out, of course, after Tomlin stepped down as the Steelers head coach in January. Tomlin coached the franchise for 19 seasons, finishing with a record of 193, 114-2, while never posting a losing season. He led the team to a Super Bowl win in Super Bowl 43 and another appearance in Super Bowl 45. Of course, Tomlin, former defensive coordinator for the Vikings in 2006. And Bob, finally, the draft does start this week. Starts Thursday, tomorrow, round 1, 7 p.m. Then Friday, rounds 2 and 3. And Saturday, we'll wrap things up with rounds 4 through 7 with, again, you mentioned the sleeper rounds where, you could pick up.
Relevant.
Right? Yeah. Boy. I mean, unless something crazy happens, which things have already happened crazy during this offseason, Fernando Mendoza should be the overall number 1 pick by the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah.
But, you never know.
Well, unless they trade for something, I don't know why they would at this point.
And what I don't know when the last time, because he's not going to be there. He stated that he's going to be with his family.
Yeah.
I forget where. So is he going to give like an air hug to the commissioner? What's up, dude?
I don't know.
Fist bump the TV.
The hats will be there. They'll have the hats.
Oh, right. I suppose, yeah.
So he'll be able to do that. Yeah.
Can you imagine get that in the mail and it's all crinkled?
No, I'm not sure how that works. But the Raiders are first, followed by the Jets, Cardinals, Texans, and Giants. The Vikings, 18th?
18th, yeah.
Yeah, 18th. Unless they trade up.
Right.
There's been speculation, one Grenard, who...
yep.
He wants more money.
Yep.
And not that he's not worth it.
Right.
But all, in the Viking scheme of things, does that make him expendable? And today I read this morning, the Vikings keep saying publicly that J.J. McCarthy is their guy.
Right. But there's also, yep. Right?
It's a full quarterback room.
Oh,
There's some
yeah.
talent there already. And is he really their guy? Or,
Right.
Now, he doesn't have the value that a Grenard does.
Right.
Because of his first couple of years in the league. But I think there are teams out there that, may have an eye, and I don't know what kind of draft pick he would get.
Right.
What he would trade him for.
And because he hasn't done anything to prove that he would be
No,
a high draft pick.
no. But he might be worth something.
Right.
So he might. We'll see. Sometimes no trades are made,
Right.
and you just go with the picks you have. So, and only if there's somebody. And again, we know who the presumptive number 1 is, but there aren't a lot of big names that everybody's clamoring about. Doesn't
No.
appear to be.
Yep.
So,
It's,
well, we'll find out.
it's going to be interesting. I think. I mean, I think you're onto something. I think there's things that we probably don't necessarily know about,
Oh, yeah.
and there's some rumors that have been kind of rumors, about potential this guy going here and this guy going here type thing. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how everything plays out.
See how it plays out.
Mhm.
All right. Wade, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
I'll have another update for you next hour. Wade will be back about 8:30.